Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karen Shannon, and I'm part of the great CodaBears team. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I'll be presenting today on information about Epicor's posting rules and the possibility to customize them from saying the standard periodic posting. That's the default description that Epicor uses for some GL transactions. And we've seen that in the newer kinetic versions of Epicor, they no longer use that description in base product, but have replaced the descriptions with more meaningful descriptions for your GL transaction for cost and WIP. However, going back from Kinetic 2022.1 and older versions of Epicor, the periodic posting description is still used in Epicor. So this presentation is most relevant for those versions. However, keep in mind that we can still customize the text for newer versions. Also, if you find that the standard text that Epicor provides is not exactly what you would like shown for the description. And today I'll show you some of the places where you will view your GL descriptions to understand what we're talking about for periodic posting. And then I will give an overview of the steps that can be done to change the GL descriptions. So we'll look at the different places. You'll see them in the review journal, the GL journal tracker, and other menus or reports that use the GL journal detail description field. And then we'll walk through some of the steps that are used to change the standard periodic posting description. When we do it, we use an Excel spreadsheet listing transaction types. Changes are made in a system that is not in your live system. We'll be working in the GL transaction type maintenance. You can add new posting codes if needed. You can create new functions if needed, and then you update your posting rules. And then lastly, you would test in your system that's not live, export from that system, and then import into your live and start using it once you're comfortable with your testing. So here's one of the places you can see the description for GL transaction types in the review journal. Transactions stop in the review journal if you have errors, or if you check the box to manually review all transactions in the GL transaction type menu maintenance item. Here you can see the top picture shows transactions in 10.2.700 using the base GL transaction type descriptions. And the second picture shows some transactions in Kinetic 2023.1, while the older version shows periodic posting process for all the cost and WIP transactions. The newer version has some more meaningful descriptions out of the box just from Epicor. Just to remind you, those descriptions can also be changed in the newer version if you want them tweaked, for example. Maybe you do not want to show the reason code here, but instead show the reason description. If a field is available for that transaction type and the length of the description works for your screens and reports, the GL transaction type description can be modified to your needs. Another area in Epicor where you can see the descriptions for the GL transaction types is the GL journal tracker. Again, the top picture shows 10.2.700 and the bottom picture shows Kinetic 2023.1, although the newer version is also showing the descriptions of periodic posting process. That's because I displayed older transactions that were already posted before this instance was upgraded to 2023.1. Customizing the posting rules does not change any of the already posted GL transaction descriptions. If you customize posting rules, they only work on transactions that will post after you have your customizations in place. Some of the Epicor reports and other menu items may also show this GL journal detailed description. Here you can see the description is shown on the pages for the general ledger report throughout the versions of Epicor. The next slides will show an overview of how the GL transaction types can be customized. If CodaBears does the customization for you, we send out ahead of time a spreadsheet that lists all the transaction types in the cost and WIP transaction posting rules and a suggested description here. We include an additional column for customers to fill in if they want something changed for the description. For example, the divider between fields here is shown as the pipe character, the up and down pipe character here, but it could be a slash or another character. In addition, maybe you don't want to see the customer's name at the end of the ADJ-cust, but instead you want it to show the customer ID. So you could put that in the spreadsheet to show exactly what you'd want to change. Or maybe you'd want to also see the material part number for the ADJ material. So you could have these and then add on the material part number if you'd like. If a field is available to use for the particular transaction type, the customization can include the text for that field. So when creating a customization to your posting rules, you want to work in an Epicor environment that is not your live environment. For on-premise customers, this could be your education, test, or pilot, or any other environment that you have set up with some data for transactions and that matches your GL structure of live. Cloud customers will usually use the pilot environment, but may also have another environment that's not live that matches their GL structure of live. So in your non-live environment, your work will be done in the GL transaction type maintenance screen. The revision to be tested will have the checkbox checked for manually reviewing all transactions. This will make all the transactions for this GL transaction type stop in the review journal as mentioned, and that way you can review the descriptions in the review journal before you go ahead and post your transactions. To customize any posting rules, a copy of the revision is made as a draft to make all the changes needed. So you can see the revision here is active. You would have to make a copy of that, and it would show up as a draft for you to make any changes. You cannot change the standard revision. Any active revision you can't change. Once you're happy with the changes you made, then the copied revision can have the status changed to active, and testing can be done with the transactions in your non-live environment. So you can change the status to active once you have a draft that has the changes that you made to your customization posting rules. In the GL transaction type maintenance screen, you can add new posting codes if needed. You would go through drill down to the either card or the tab for posting codes as shown here, for the tabs, and the card on the right hand side for Kinetic versions. And once you're in there, you can see the different posting codes for different areas that are in use by your posting rules. So for posting rules for part tran, you have different areas of posting codes used for customer or invoice, etc., and just the standard details for your posting codes. So you can notice that Epicor provides many of these fields out of the box, but additional fields can also be added. Posting codes are grouped as shown here by the document line, part tran, and then by the entity, the customer, or details shown here. You'll see these as different tabs in older Epicor versions or as different cards in the Kinetic versions. You can also create new functions as needed. And for your posting rule customizations, you may need to add additional functions. On the left, you can see some of the functions listed for the posting rule that Epicor uses by default in their posting rules. And if you click on one of the functions, you can see the function text that they use for that particular function to be used in the posting rules. Explaining the function in detail is beyond this presentation. In general, the posting rules use these functions and the posting codes to create descriptions along with many other results within the posting rules. For example, the amounts also are calculated using these functions usually. Each posting rule for the different transaction types can be customized. Here you can see the list of posting rules. It's an abbreviated list because there's many more for the cost and whip transaction type, and they pretty much go alphabetically. And in later versions of Epicor 10 and Kinetic, Epicor added a customization tab under the operations, which would have your posting rules there. And it's a customization card in Kinetic. Previously, before they added that customization, you could still customize the posting rule. Before they added that customization tab, you could still customize the posting rules, but you had to do it actually on the base tab with the customization. Each posting rule will then have a different icon next to the rule here to show that it's been customized. And again, details of customizations are beyond this presentation. After the customization is finished and you make the customized GL transaction type revision active, you can test by creating sample transactions. If you have checked the manually review all transactions, you can view the transactions in the review journal. CodaBears also has a dashboard to review those transactions instead of viewing them in the review journal. They're easier to view in the dashboard than in the review journal. After posting the transactions, you can view them in the journal tracker or the general ledger report. Here, this is the journal tracker, and you can see we have some that were posted before the transactions or the customization was on the GL transaction type, and then some shown after the customization was added on the GL transaction type. When you're happy with all your testing, the customized GL transaction type revision can be exported from your non-live environment to your live environment, where it can be imported and then made active for use. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.